Hubba hubba! You're so much cooler now for learning these. As we journey through the dark web, you'll come across services that help you maintain your anonymity and conduct your investigations. There are a lot of things that we gotta talk about still, so bear with me. Let's talk about safe dark web emails. On the dark web, you might need to communicate securely. Maybe you need to sign up somewhere, both permanent or temporary. You can turn to services like Proton Mail, Tutan Nota, Danwin, 1210.de, Sector.city, Mail to Tor, or Cock.ly. They offer end-to-end encryption, ensuring your emails are as secure as a vault in a Bond movie. Note: Dear Average Joe, please do not use your averageHjoe@hotmail.com email to observe drug dealers on the dark web. Don't use anything related to yourself for this job. They will find you, dear, and you'll be sad. Cause they ain't gonna be bringing you a Christmas gift. A lump of coal is what you're getting in Uranus. Creating sock puppet accounts. Now, at first episode we mentioned that for this course you'll need some important stuff. Now it's time to cash one out. Common sense. One thing you must understand onto the art of creating sock puppet accounts is that these are your undercover personas. For this, we have websites like FakeNameGenerator, and this person does not exist. Like your love partner. Although that CSI Linux will automate this process for you. Details, pics, sorted even in forms of documents. Whatever you want, whatever you need. It will help you craft the perfect disguise. Now, why do you need that? Common sense. Cause think about it, that's why. Cause common sense. Dark web is a layer of pedophiles, drug dealers, killers, people with every intention to harm you. Your targets. Do you really want to go marching in front of them with a smile on your face? I told you, the digital world is not a safe place. Protect your identity and information, please. Surface or dark web. Whether you're on Instagram, posting a picture in front of your house, showing off your new tans to impress Mike the Chad, or a black market on dark web. Please stop making everything so easy for the attackers. God. Achieving a fake persona on the dark web. Let's dive into the technical details of creating a fake persona on the dark web. Here's a step-by-step guide for y'all, cause you're cute and we like you. First off, choose your identity. Start by choosing a name, age, and background for your fake persona based on your subjective need for the case. Make it believable, but not too flashy. You're aiming for the blend-in factor. Now, since your precious time is limited due to the launch of a new season of Apex, presumably you won't be having the time to make all those accounts, and believe me, you need a lot of accounts, ready for use, all the time. CSI Linux has made this process automated, like many other things, just for you. All you have to do is just click on that. Start a case. Now let's click on Start a New Case unless you already have a case. Fill it up and hit OK. You want to choose the open source intelligence section, then the social media part, and at last the sock puppet generator. You'll be getting this. Easy as that. And of course you can change it manually as well. Now all you need to do is just close this tab, and this beautiful document will be shown. You've got a new identity, with a new picture, which was provided for you from the services like This Person Does Not Exist. And all this process is that easy, just because of the CSI Linux. Now for creating a dark web email. Head to Proton Mail or Tutanota to create a secure email address for your persona. Use the information that you have crafted for your identity. There are tons of services like this, permanent or temporary. Search for them and you'll find them. After all, OSINT is the art of searching, knowing what to search and where to look for it. So get used to it and try to master it. Secure a VPN service. Get a trustworthy VPN service to hide your real IP address. Make sure that it has a no logs policy. As mentioned already, CSI Linux provides you with a built-in VPN for your convenience, which goes through Tor. Next step, get Tor or another dark web browser. Download Tor or another dark web browser like I2P or LokiNet. These will be your gateways to the shadowy realms. Craft your online presence. Now it's time to create social media profiles for your persona. Use platforms like Tor Book or Galaxy 3 on I2P. Maintain consistency. Keep your fake persona consistent across platforms. Use the same name, age, and background details. This builds credibility, which is everything in the world of dark web. Exercise caution. Never reveal personal information. Be cautious when interacting with others. Remember, OffSec is your best friend, since you don't have any. You friendless anonymous being. Now let's talk about the transactions, because the cookies ain't free. Well, if you haven't lived under a cave, you're familiar with the concept of currencies and why we use them. The crypto connection. Today we're also going to talk about the crypto, not the currency alone, but the technology that powers it as well. Blockchain technology was created by an anonymous entity or group known as Satoshi Nakamoto in 2008 to underpin the cryptocurrency Bitcoin. It operates as a decentralized and immutable ledger with transaction grouped into blocks and linked through cryptographic hashes. Each participant in a network maintains a copy of the entire blockchain, ensuring transparency and security through consensus mechanism like proof of work or proof of stake. This innovative approach eliminates the need for intermediaries, enhancing trust and efficiency in various industries beyond cryptocurrency. It is transparent, yet pseudonymous, making it a game changer for financial anonymity. Feeling lost? Just a bit? Allow me to demonstrate how it works. Think of it as a journal, an accountant's notebook. Imagine a group of people are using a blockchain for tracking ownership of digital assets, such as digital collectibles or tokens. Each participant in a network has a copy of the blockchain, which starts as an empty ledger. Let's learn with an example. Step 1. Transaction creation. Alice wants to send a digital collectible to Bob. She creates a digital transaction, specifying the assets, details, and Bob's address. Step 2. Verification. The transaction is broadcasted to the network. Nodes or computers in the network verify that Alice indeed owns the collectible and has the right to send it. Step 3. Block formation. Once verified, the transaction is bundled with other transactions into a block. Before being added to the blockchain, miners or special nodes compete to solve a complex mathematical puzzle in a process called proof of work. The first miner to solve it gets to add the block to the chain. Step 4. Consensus. The rest of the network verifies the correctness of the solved puzzle and the transactions in the block. If it's valid, consensus is reached, and a new block is added to everyone's copy of the blockchain. Step 5. Immutable record. The blockchain now reflects Alice's transaction, and ownership of the collectible is officially transferred to Bob. This transaction is immutable, meaning it cannot be altered or deleted. Step 6. Continued transaction. Over time, more transactions are added to subsequent blocks, creating a linked chain of ownership records. Blockchain's decentralized and transparent nature ensures trust in the system, making it difficult for any single entity to manipulate or control the records. This example showcased how blockchain can be used for secure and transparent digital asset ownership tracking. The more we know. Suggestions for a safe crypto. Monero, the privacy champion, was born in 2014. It's like digital cash in a world where every coin has a secret identity. Monero's advanced cryptographic features makes it a favorite in the dark web. P.S. Of course, you could never be sure. Holy shit, good job keeping up. Couldn't be that easy. How about some recognition? Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our beloved listener. Now on some honorary but important mentions. Some tools for the dark web investigator. Now when you're deep in the dark web, chasing shadows and uncovering secrets, remember that there are tools that can be your trusty sidekicks. First of all, Ahmia. Ahmia is a search engine designed to index and make Tor hidden services discoverable. It was developed to provide users with a convenient way to search for websites and services that are only accessible through the Tor network. Why do we use it? Well, Ahmia serves as a valuable resource for users seeking to explore the depths of the dark web safely. By indexing hidden services, it enables users to find information and websites that would otherwise be challenging to locate, contributing to a more accessible and organized dark web experience. Now let's put a pin on that. Let's talk about something else. Capturing social media for use as evidence in a court of law, and best practices for that. After all, cyber forensics is why most of us are here. Practice 1. Capture content in full. Capture an entire social media profile, including all profile sections such as Facebook About, Groups, and Friends pages. In addition to all sections, capture all posts and comments, including scrolling, expandable, and archived content within a profile to not only have it documented in case it gets deleted, but also to provide the full context of the post and conversation. Many cases such Regis V. Lorenzo Kent demonstrates why it's vital to capture an entire Facebook profile and not just parts of it. Know the hiding spots. Social media platforms have numerous tabs and expandable comments that contain content and may not be immediately visible. Since these platforms change constantly, be certain to know or ask an expert where evidence may hide within each platform. For example, in a recent rape trial out of England, law enforcement was unfamiliar with Facebook and failed to collect conversations that would have proved a young man innocent prior to him being wrongfully convicted. Practice 3. Collect the key metadata. Capture all the metadata associated with the content to prove authenticity, like IP addresses, timestamps, URLs, and etc. Even if you don't think you'll need it, it's always safer to collect it from the start. Practice 4. Stay out of the chain of custody. Leverage web collection technology that serves as a trusted third party and removes attorney and their staff from the chain of custody. If you or your staff handle the collection directly, you may become unnecessarily involved in a case. Practice number 6. Support your evidence with affidavits. Obtain an affidavit to verify the authenticity of the website capture technology and the capture method. Practice number 6. Document content accurately. Capture a true and accurate representation of the web content so that when saving or printing, it looks exactly like it appears online and won't cause confusion if presented in court. If a legal professional is not able to follow these best practices, it's better to work with a web collection service that would be able to properly assist and collect specified web content during discovery or litigation. You might feel a little bit left out, but I'm gonna explain. There are 3 things you need to know for understanding all of this. First of all, the chain of custody, which will be covered. Then, it would be the metadata, which also will be covered. The third part, well, that would be Hunchley. That would be your digital evidence collector and your problem solver when you're gathering clues on the dark web. Hunchley ensures your evidence is as solid as a rock. Now let's talk about the critical aspect of investigations, the chain of custody. It's like the game of pass the parcel with evidence. You don't want the music to stop on your watch, or Uncle Brian will beat the shit out of you for disappointing him again. Chain of custody ensures that your evidence is admissible in court. It's a record of who had what evidence when. And guess what? Hunchley plays a crucial role in here. Every click you break, every page you take, every screenshot you make, Hunchley will be watching you. It's all recorded and timestamped, so when you're presenting your findings, it would be no he said, she said. It would be all there in black and white. Now in the process of an investigation, you'll have to deal with a lot of information. You might have to use multiple softwares like Multigo, ReconNG, Spice, Hunchley, and many, many more. Whilst finding, handling, managing, sorting, recording, capturing the clues, and for the final presentation at court, that will not be an easy task. CSI Linux will provide you with all necessary automated investigation tools and software right under your fingers. With its case management, just choose the type of your investigation and you will have all you need sorted right there. You would never have to worry about documenting your evidence, since it'll all get automatically filled in. The pre-prepared document templates provided for you by CSI Linux. As for the metadata, I'm just gonna give you a short, brief summary of it, and we'll talk about it later in another episode, since all you need to know is its basic definition. Metadata is essentially data about data. It provides information about a certain item's content. For example, an image may include metadata that describes how large the picture is, the color depth, the image resolution, the date it was created. A text document's metadata may contain information about how long the document is, who the author is, when the document was written, and a brief summary of the document. Technical metadata relates to the creation and storage of an item and often includes details necessary for decoding and rendering the data. For example, in a database, metadata would describe the tables, columns, data types, and relationships between tables. Let's consider a practical example. A digital photograph. This metadata of this photograph would include, first of all, EXIF data. This includes the camera's settings such as shutter speed, aperture, ISO value, whether the flash was used, and sometimes the location coordinates where the photo was taken if the camera has GPS capabilities. And yes, that means your phone as well. IPTC data. This is used by photographers to include information such as the title, caption, and keywords. XMP data. This auto-be developed format can store an even wider range of information such as licensing rights. A technical metadata for a digital photograph taken with a smartphone might look like something like this. And yes, these informations are easily available for everyone to see if you do not remove them. But again, as I said already, these informations are not for now. And at last, remember these 3 things. Go deep, even if it means a virtual machine and another virtual machine. Protect your footsteps by using strong firewalls and protocols, and use public internet. And with that, our journey into the darkness of the web is over for now. And thank you. Oh, wait. There is also a credit song. Skip it if you may. But I don't care. Stay curious and stay safe, my friends. I'm on Visage, signing off from Lumon Radio.
In the depths of the digital night, an investigator ready to take fight. In a world of secrets where wrong meets right, they unveil the truth with all their might. Through the cyber fog they boldly tread, chaos and deception, it'll spell no dread. With tools in hand, encourage well fed, in quest for justice, they'll forge ahead. Oh, hear ye, noble and fair, a tale of anonymous hero, beyond compare. Gather round, for the song shall declare the valor of the one who roams the digital land. There was a hero rising through the fray in a dark web dances, where shadows hold the sway. They follow each lead, come what they may. With CSI Linux by their side, they will save the day.